Hi, welcome back to the bunker. My name's Richard from Battleboards, and today we're going to be looking at the Ork terrain project. The movie shows how the boards are put together and constructed for the client. As some of the boards were so complicated, it was a bit difficult to actually write it all down. So I thought the best way was, again, to do a movie showing how all the parts come together. Okay, this is the board itself in its deconstructed state. So all these parts are actually joined to the board and form the actual main board itself. This is the main gun that sits above the hangar with the sort of partially built bomber. Then we have the teleport itself, which is the hangar roof section. We have the main teleport power supply ramp that goes up the back of the teleport. The main teleport with its pad. There's some ladders that go with that either side. The main squig pit, which is the squig pit sign, which goes together. This forms part of the main squig pit. The upper crane for the squig pit. The trading point. The upper platform. The roof sections, 2 roof sections. Additional ladders, chains. We have the 3 cage squigs. A bit of something that hangs. Then we have the 2 scatter terrain pieces, which is the main sort of market ammo dump. And then obviously we have the main squig pit top, which forms the top. Now, as explained in the email, we had some problems actually making the boards, because each of the boards are completely independent and can go together in any way. Some of the terrain pieces extend further than the edge of the table of the board, so that created some problems. So especially with the main Ork fort, as explained, it did create some problems. So what we did, we made an alternative top, which is this one, which is a lot. It's not so high and it's narrower, so it will fit on the other boards if you have problems getting the main squig pit top on it. And then we also have an alternative top to go on the hangar, which will allow vehicles, larger vehicles, to come across its side entrance. Okay, so as you can see, that's quite a lot of pieces to form the one board, and then I'll talk you through how each one of those goes together. Okay, this is the construction of the main squig pit, sort of bar section. So basically, all these pieces are joined together, so you don't need to worry about fixing these two. This will come together with the board. Just to run you through a couple of the features, we have a moving door here that basically closes up the door to the sort of boss's area. And if I spin the board round, you'd be able to see the back of the board, which is obviously where the cave is. Okay, so this is the top that snaps onto the main board. It comes with a couple of sort of packing pieces, which are have got magnets attaching them to the base. So you just pull those off. That just means that you can sit it flat on the bench, because there are things overhanging which are quite delicate, so you don't want to put it straight on the bench if you can help it. Okay, so basically that then snaps onto the top of that piece, using the corner section as a guide. So this far right hand corner basically goes on, and my chosen method of magnetically connecting things is to use magnets and metal plates. That way you don't have to snap into one place each time. You can actually have a better flexibility by moving the actual pieces around, but once it's in its position, you should find that it will stay throughout the game. It doesn't sit flush with the back, it sort of slightly overhangs, which again, if you have a board that tucks up against either of the sides, you might want to push it in slightly to allow the other board to come up together. So basically you line up the 2 edges with the corner, and then it will snap into place. You can see quite clearly where the metal plates are underneath. Okay, the next piece you want to be putting is the teeth or trade point, and that sits on the inside of the upper floor. Okay, the easiest way to get that piece in is from the rear without the roof being on, and then just gently pass that round until it's in the right position, and then you'll find that that locates into the top. It's also used for the alternative top. Another nice little feature of the platform is this removable hatch, which can be removed, so the orcs can come up and down that. And then that has one of the ladders. Now it's the ladder with the one leg longer than the other, and that sits inside. You pass it through the actual hole itself, and you'll find location holes actually in the board, and that will just hold it in like that. Once the main platform's in place and you have your trade point in, it's time to put the next section, which are the roof sections. So there's two of these, one's larger than the other. So it doesn't really matter which way round or which one you start with, but basically choppers for killing stuff goes on the far side, with the curved section cut out ready for the tower. That sits in place there like that. And then the other section, which is squig oil, goes in here. There's little cuts in the actual top where they sit in quite snugly. Okay, once that section's in, or the both roof sections in, you can then put the main sign holder in. That magnetically connects as well, and you have small plates on either side and a magnetic plate at the back as well to just hold that in place. Okay, the next piece to add is the upper platform. Now this can be put into different positions depending upon where you want the defending line to be. It can be at the front if it's a corner board, but if you've got other boards on and you want a bit more defence at the back, you can have this in a position. I've included an extra nut just to screw that piece down. So if you wanted to use it as an independent piece, it has a small magnetic location for some of the smaller weapons, so you could put a flamer up there from the fort board, or various other weapons that I've given throughout the whole set. But that's just a little extra just to allow you to use it without the crane. The primary position for the upper platform is the front position, with the slot on this side lines up with the slot for where the chain goes down into the main pit. This is where the main chain will fit. If you use the crane, you'll feed the chain down through that hole there, and then right the way through down to the base. So the next, once you've got the platform and decided where you want to put that, then next is the main crane. So the main crane then screws onto the same thread that you would have used your alternative capping piece. So you just want to be gentle with it and keep turning it gently until it sort of starts to bite, and you'll have a few turns before you need to, before you decide where you want to actually place it. So you want to keep twisting the crane until it reaches its optimum position, which is this small hole on top meets the small hole on the bottom. So you don't want it too tight, you just want it enough in there just to lock it all in there. If you do it too tight, you'll probably find the crane will point the wrong direction. Okay, so once you've got the holes lined up with the ones underneath, you can then feed the chain, which is the one with the small hook on, down through the holes. And you should find, with a bit of adjustment, that you should be able to find that the chain will fall all the way through down to the ground. Okay, and then this end you attach to a small hook. Once you pass it through, you'll find that there's a small nail sticking out, which you can then wrap the hook end of the chain round, which will stop the chain from falling through. Okay, so if we just follow the chain from its source to its end, you have the small nail hook in between the two sides. The chain then runs up through to the end of the crane, down through a small hole in the rear of the crane, which then comes down inside the actual squig pit, through the observation floor, and then continues down. Once the chain's in position, you'll be able to take one of the squig in its cage and just attach it to the end of the chain by simply hovering it underneath the chain, and then it will connect itself to the chain like so. That allows the cage to be hoisted using the crane to the main delivery area. So I sort of like to have sort of a story or make everything sort of work. So you should be able to just unhook the actual chain itself from this mounting, and then lower, with a bit of sort of wiggling around, lower the actual cage to the lower cave floor. As I sort of wanted to make it all sort of make sense, the cage can actually be lowered to the sort of squig cave and then removed. And then I don't know if you can see inside, but there's a couple of squigs waiting to be loaded into the cage inside there. Just to give it an idea that the caverns then continue on in both directions and could be effectively quite vast. It's also where they would grow a lot of their fungi or funguses for sale in the actual squig pit itself. Okay, with the squig cage and crane now in position, we can now place the main sign at the front. I've made the sign point magnetic, so you can change the sign to face whichever way you want. I've also made a sort of secret sniping position behind the actual sign, so the odd orc sniper can go up there. And it might be worth mentioning that this is obviously one of the main magnetic points for weaponry, so other weapons and things can be switched out and used as an alternative point. But for now we'll put the squig pit sign in, and then the only final thing is the actual squig motif, which I've done, which is also on a spring, just to give it a little wiggle, a bit of fun. Okay, with the main squig pit actually constructed, we can then put some of the smaller details. I've made in total 3 in total of the squig cages, which hang around various points. So the main prize squig, which the one you decide is the main prize squig, that has a little chain that attaches to just the underside of the sign. So that hangs there. That way the orcs can move in behind and get a good view of the prize squig. And then the other cage sits on another little chain just underneath that side, leaving this final point, which I've sort of made this little sort of piece of gizmo which has a cannon attached to it, so again could be fired off if people walk underneath it, and that just sits in there. We also have some additional ladders. This one is magnetically connected onto the frame here, and again you might just have to adjust where that sits, but that allows them to get the orcs allows them to get up to the main platform. We also have another ladder, which is the one with the sort of connected bottom. That sits in a little groove and lifts up through to the inside of there, which again you can have either way round. And then we have a metal ladder that passes down through the top of the squig oil sign. There's 2 holes on top where it fits in, and there's also holes on the bottom as well, so it's just a case of sort of positioning the ladder in the right position. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the squig pit. Like I say, it's quite a complicated piece, but once you get it all together, I think you'll be pretty impressed with how it all looks and works. And again, it's probably you can use the pieces in multiple different ways and reposition them and set it up how you like. Hi, thanks very much for watching the movie. It was my first Ork project, so I was quite excited to get this one. It's quite different from many of my other projects, and I hope that I've sort of achieved what I set out to do, which was to show the Orc civilization in such a unique way. So thank you very much again for watching the movies, and as always, your comments are always welcome, and it's great to hear your thoughts and comments on all the movies, so thank you very much for that, and also for subscribing, so that's great, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.